Hey everybody, this is Chris. I'm the founder of Cary Spotlight, a daily newsletter in Cary, North Carolina. Full title, Chris Kutzer, PhD. Yes, but in a former life, I was a research scientist, officer in the Navy, a corpsman with the Marine Corps. So lots of different interesting jobs I've had, many different hats, which I'll probably sport in this little series. And here I'm focusing on um, 52 days to go. So every day for the next 52 days, leading up to the anniversary edition of Cary Spotlight, I will go over, week by week, the progression of Cary Spotlight to kind of capture some of my thoughts while I was creating Cary Spotlight from the beginning through 52 weeks. Lessons to myself or lessons to a version of me that's trying to create a hyperlocal newsletter. So this is what I would have benefited from if this video was available 52 weeks ago. So just enjoy. I'm gonna have some random thoughts. Some things are not as structured as some kind of a coursework, but I'm laying down some insights. Again, for some, maybe I could write a book one day using this as notes or as a structure. But if you can benefit from this on your newsletter journey, then let's that be it. I don't have an audience for this. I'm just putting this down on tape, or as the old people would say, so that it's there available as a resource. So let's just hop in. So the first one is probably gonna suck, but as I'll get 52 hits at this, I'll get better. So don't worry about it. All right. So Cary Spotlight, October 24. Why did we do it? Well, I was in a mastermind group where they said, hey, you could build an asset, which is a newsletter. And then I thought about it and said, hey, let's put this into action. There was no specific reason for starting October 24. It just, that was the day that I said, this is the day we're just going to go and put this thing together. So Cary Spotlight is a combination of, local, very, very local interest stories that are summarized really quick, really easy to read, less than 5 minutes, plus a list of events that are happening in the area that's of interest to local people. Now, again, stress, week one, there was nobody. I'm just writing for myself, just to go through the reps of actually putting the newsletter together and getting it out and published. So there's going to be some scary moments here, some things that are looking so good. But hey, it was Halloween. There's nothing to be afraid about. Had some events here specific to Halloween, included Apex. Now we don't do Apex anymore. We only do events that are specific to Cary. But at that time, I was just kind of experimenting. So all of these are links that goes directly to uh, pages where people can get more information from it. Also threw in some weather. As you can see, local news of that vaccine was still pretty big on everybody's mind. Local sports team. So we're playing with the idea that we can also embed, stuff from Twitter or X, as it was called, in the newsletter. And then here I'm starting to use the idea, the concept of the viral meme. The viral meme for me is almost like in the old days, if you're old like me, over 50, you'll know that newspapers used to have a little comic strip section. So this is kind of like a throwback or homage to that. It's like, give me something to laugh, give me something to chuckle, give me something to think about. Have that in there. So that was the whole point of that. And then again, just a simple call to action at the end. Now, some of the things that I'll see in here, I'll probably want to go back to doing. Again, we try to find things where we're raising awareness. So here's a very good story of a local teen that's doing a fundraising event. There's also, police stories. So these kind of stories are always good to have. The local team playing in a match. So that's another thing that you want to be able to focus on, is to bring stories that people would normally talk about on their walk or when they walk their kids to school. talk about the local soccer team, talk about crime in the area. So this is kind of again picking on that. Here we're sticking with the formula of putting a whole long list of the events, and then as we move through the week, we kind of chop off, it, as we go down the list. Basically, we don't go past Sunday or whatever the last day is. Here we went. It used to be Sunday is the anchoring day, and you'll see that will change as we go into future editions. But yes, basically we end on Sunday, and then this list gets whittled down. So that way it makes it easier for you. Instead of trying to find new events all the time, you just kind of have a big list, and it gets shorter and shorter until you repeat the cycle. So that makes it easy. Again, Halloween was big on people's mind. So you would talk about, stories related to that. Another thing that people really like also is to get good news stories about where they live. So in Cary, it's always, it's a small town, has a small town vibe, but it's really has over 170,000 people in it. So, and some of the homes are, as you can see here, 600,000. So it's not cheap to live in Cary. So again, that's another issue with affordable housing, and also with the real estate property values it's a big thing. So kind of put that in. Real estate is going to be has a prominent feature in our newsletter. Good news story is always good. Grab a lottery thing. So if it's somebody, like in this case, a Cary resident one, so that's good. We want to share in everybody's goodwill. And again, a little joke at the end. So again, we're only going to go through 7 of these. We're not going to go word for word. But again, as you can see, they're talking about property values, prime real estate status. So that's going to be a theme that I'm kind of coming out to. Again, we have the research triangle area. We're very close to that. So there's going to be stories about health, medical, science related stuff will also be in there, because the audience may be working in those industries or are using the pharmaceuticals that come from that. So that's pretty straightforward. Yes, as I said, science celebrations, these are things that you can include. And also another note is it's important to have the table of contents kind of quickly let people know, hey, what are the stories we're talking about, and they can scroll straight to that story. Here we're talking about opening of a new kind of a restaurant, which will also become a theme later on in the newsletter. So we definitely want that. Also, some kind of historical references. So there's a lot of things that are every town has some history, and if you can include that, that will also make it of interest for people, because there's a lot of new people moving into the area, and they may not know the history of the area. So again, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. One of the things that I do notice here is that there's no interaction with the audience. There's no reader poll. We do have the share buttons, which is good. So this is basically on almost every section, which is probably something I should think about bringing back. I don't have that many share buttons anymore, so that will be something that we can talk about. But yeah, you want to give people opportunity if they really like something. Don't let them go look for this button. So that will be a note to myself to do that. Again, a lot of our subscribers are reading the newsletter on their phone, so that's why the newsletter is structured in this very narrow shape, so that people can just easily move their finger, slide it up, so they can see what's going on. Okay, so, same idea here. There's nothing. Yep, crime section. So let's play with that, because again, people are always interested in crime stories, what's going on, police report, the weather. Funny enough, people even though they're looking at this on their phone, and they could probably just look at the weather on their phone, this was one of the things that in feedback that people were actually kind of like always interested in, because the newsletter goes out at 6:00 in the morning. It's something that they can actually to look at. So yes, so we're playing around with the placement of the viral meme as well as the sports thing. So and also the placement of the event. So before in the beginning of the week, the events was at the top of the page, and now I started placing it at the bottom, so that if that's the main thing that people want to know about, they literally have to come down here and get it. So that's interesting. And yeah, so this is fun. This is the last edition of the week, and this is where we actually begin the real estate edition. So this is the birth of the specialty edition, and it will become a anchor, or a key feature in the Cary Spotlight moving forward. What's unusual about this section is that it only talks about real estate. There's none of the local news, nothing else going on except for, hey, this is how many properties were sold in the area. Again, because this is important for people that want to sell their home and kind of have a look around to see what other people are selling their homes for, or if you're renting or trying to move to the area, hey, what it's going to cost. And of course, all these links go to the actual listings, so people can see what the properties look like and get the pricings right there. And here we go. This is our first kind of feedback from our readers to see if this was useful. Now, caveat, don't put this if you don't want to read what people say. Sometimes you are going to get somebody will say meh, and other times I found that somebody said, oh, I clicked the wrong button. I meant to say it was good. So take that with a grain of salt. If it's good, it's kind of like you be like a politician. If the polls are good, you believe the polls. If the polls are bad, you don't believe it. Just keep going. Yes, you're going to have, since we do this daily, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have some days where it's not going to be that good. Some stories are going to be meh, and sometimes you're going to hit a home run. You pushed all the buttons, and your readers will tell you that. Okay. And then also here, we started to ask for businesses that want to be featured in Cary Spotlight, and they can apply, and you can also have people nominate them. Now, looking back at this, very few people actually nominated a business. So I've had people approach us to be in the spotlight, but I've not. No one ever did that. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't put it in. It's just the process of them nominating you and then you are going out again. It just creates the wrong dynamic. The dynamic is that you have something that the business wants, and they're coming in. In this case, we had very few, maybe 10, 30 subscribers. So we were just trying to solicit ideas for spotlights, and we haven't done a local business spotlight yet. So we were trying to get ideas of what people are interested in so we could spotlight them. So that's why that was there. Okay. Same idea of viral meme shares if we could help. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, we get better as we go along, but that was kind of like the first week. The idea here was just to get started, get the mechanics down, just getting into the habit of putting out a newsletter daily at 6 o'clock in the morning. Have this thing ready to go, and again, in my next video, we'll talk more about the different strategies and sponsorships and stuff like that, lessons learned. But this was the first week. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll go from here.